What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Wow, the market gave us that pullback that we were expecting. We talked about it yesterday. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to talk about it today and what the game plan might be for the coming days. We have a lot of data ahead of us. We are heading into this month of March, which typically is a down month for the overall market. We've made an amazing run for the past 2 months of 2024. And now it's time to say, hey, can we continue up a little bit more? Or is this the signal? Is this the sign that we are headed a little bit further down? Okay. So thank you so much for being here. If you could hit me that like button, that subscribe button, share this out with a friend, just to give them continuous updates about how their investment journey may be going, how it can start, continue, and just flourish throughout 2024 and then into 2025 and beyond. All right. So what we're going to discuss the overall market. We're also going to discuss the crypto market as well, slightly here, but I will make a complete crypto separate video. But we did get that healthy pullback in the crypto market as well as we hit all-time highs since 2021. All right. Let's jump into it. Let me go ahead and shrink my head, as I always say here, and jump into these charts. Now, before we jump into the charts, let's jump on the fundamental side of things and just give an overall analysis of what happened today. The S&P 500 down about 1%, Dow Jones a little bit more, just over 1%, and NASDAQ, our tech index there, right, almost 2%, as the tech stocks continue to get weak. And then the Russell 2000 here, our small caps, around the same as the S&P, just under 1%. Now, what does all this mean? Let's get a broader view here on the last 5 days. Okay. The S&P is just really not starting off the month of March that well, which as expected, right? But we're still overall bullish. All right. Look at the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000 still up over the last week. Okay. Last 5 days. And then look at the month, right? In the last month, excuse me, not this month, the last month, we are technically still bullish. We're just cooling off. So if you're new to this, just be mindful that when you see these headliners saying red day, sell off, these billionaires are selling off their stock. As a reminder, all that is simply taking their profits off the table. You'll see this more as we jump into the charts, but that is the overall premise. Okay. It is just time, as I said before, to just keep your head on a swivel. So if you do have your long-term brokerages, your 401ks, SEP IRAs, obviously, disclaimer, this is not financial advice. I'm just a personal here talking with some experience and just trying to share the information with you. Just be mindful that if you are up significantly in your portfolio, you may want to look at hedging, right? Your portfolio with specific plays, okay? Specific stocks, indexes that are the inverse of what you have. You may also potentially, if you want, you're significantly up and you're happy with your profits, trimming some of those profits and then dollar cost averaging as we come lower, okay? Still keep your original position, but it's okay to take some profits off the table. I'm a believer in that personally, right? That you can hold long-term, but ultimately, hey, we never know. So just make sure you trim those profits or hedge your portfolio, okay, to protect those gains. All right, so let's jump into the economic calendar. What did we have today? We talked about yesterday that we had this Tuesday, kind of heavy data coming in, starting to pick up here where people are just trying to make sure that they're protecting their profits. Okay, we had PMI data this morning. We had factory orders, ISM, and then we had some Fed speakers or bar speaking around noon, which just continued to drive the market down further and further. Okay, tomorrow is a massive day as well. Okay, we have more Fed speakers. We have Jerome Powell at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, if you're not too familiar, if this is your first video, okay, from myself, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell essentially makes the decisions on our interest rates. Okay, he has very much a powerful voice in the financial space, is in regards to our economy. All right. So Thursday, initial jobs claims as usual. That happens every Thursday. He's speaking again in the morning. So as we push higher, okay, you'll see this again on the charts in just a second. As we continue to recover and push higher, I do suspect that we may potentially, right? This may be just the start. Okay. We are an overall bull market, short-term bearish. All right. Let's jump in our fear and greed index. As I told you yesterday, where were we sitting right here at 80. Okay, this is an indication how you could see exactly what happened today. Remember me jumping on the timeline. If you've not seen that video, go back and check it yesterday. But as we continue to get above this 80 mark, 79, 80, 81, 82, right? We tend to, drop down a little bit. We tend to drop down a little bit in the market. Okay, so this is a very simple way, as a reminder, for you to get along very simply with your investing journey. Okay, look at the fear and greed index and follow along the path here where to potentially hold off on buying, save your cash. Okay, some certain stocks you can dollar cost average into, but we're at all-time highs up here. We're in extreme greed, and greed to where you want to buy when we're in extreme fear. All right, or fearfulness. All right, there's that. Let's jump into, that's it. That's it for the fundamentals. Let's jump into the charts where the money is made. All right, I'm going to go over SPY first. Okay, SPY first. And we can see here, let's jump into a daily chart. Okay, daily chart. Overall, let me turn off this non-EMA, get it clear, and let me shrink me a little bit here. There. As I was saying, we're at overall bullish. Okay, you see this trend line here coming on the top there, just trending up, trending up, trending up, trending up. Okay, so you see we're in this trend channel. Now we're just going back and forth and back and forth, but the overall trend is higher lows and higher highs. All right. So that's the general gist. You're starting to see the tie-in from that fundamental news that we just went over, right? You saw it on the numbers, and now you're seeing it on the charts. So just because we had one red day and we're starting off a red week, there are a couple of signs here, a couple of signals that are giving us a little bit of bearish nature in the short term where we can be more confident going short. Okay, the first thing that I saw, which I should have gone a little bit heavier on, I'm just being a little bit more cautious at these highs, was this shooter candle right here. So this candle on a daily typically gives an indication that that is a bearish sign. Okay, let me show you here. Shooting star candle stick. Okay, let me come to here. And there's a signal. A type of candlestick that forms when a security opens, advances significantly, but then closes the day near open again. All that means is that you are having a lot of sellers, a lot of selling pressure. The candlestick moved up and then closed down here. And whether it's green or red, you can see that you have a very, very tall wick on the top of here. All right. So that gave me a little signal yesterday, and I should have trusted myself a little bit more. I had a idea, a sentiment that we were coming down further, but the move just kind of happened overnight. So you see this gap, right? We gapped down overnight. So the move actually happened overnight, and then we just continued. All right. So that is typical shooting star candle, gap down, fearfulness, quote unquote, or profit taking comes in, and then we just continue to break key levels. All right. That is what happened today. Okay. But the thing to note is that we are still forming higher highs and higher lows. Okay. So you can see that we bounced off of this significant support zone here at 503, 504. I was telling everyone that 503, 504 area could be a significant support zone. And you can see how it reacted last time it got around this zone. Bounced off and we went right back to 509. Okay, bounced off 507, then 509. And then potentially, if we get strong, breaking this 510, filling this gap and coming all the way back up to highs to 512. Okay, it's not out of the water yet, which is why we are just being a little bit cautious. Now, another case that could show us some bearish signaling that, hey, it could trap people in a little bit more heading into significant data is maybe this plays out. For those that are familiar with this formation, we have a potential head and shoulders playing out on SPY on the S&P. Okay, let me turn this blue. And again, these formations are a way to indicate how to build your case on a particular play, stock, index, does not matter. right? These are high probability setups that you can follow along to see if it plays out. All right. So let me go here and show you what that looks like. Head and shoulders candlestick pattern. Okay. So do you see how this forms this shoulder, forms a higher price, the head, and then forms a lower high on the right shoulder, which signals more continuation on the downside. All right. So as we push higher, I'm looking at this area right here to see if we can break above 510. Okay. So very clear range here. See if we can break above this 510 area and continue. If we break above 510, then this blue area, this head and shoulders, is invalid for the short term. Okay. It's invalid for the short term. So I want to see how we react tomorrow. We'll probably recover from today. But then we have Powell speaking, and we may get some selling coming in further, depending on what the sentiment of our economy is. Okay. So tomorrow, leading into the remainder of the week, can be very significant for us to continue higher, and then also potentially to get slammed back down at these areas. Remember, we're still in greed, extreme greed. We could push back up. We're still in an overall bullish market, which means that every dip is just getting bought. Okay. Every dip is getting bought. All right. There's no real big sign that we are headed into a massive, recession or pullback or anything like that. These are just healthy pullbacks. Okay. Now, I'm excited to see this tomorrow because I love head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders, which are bullish nature. This is more bearish to see how we play out. Okay. See how we play out. So I'll be having this on watch tomorrow to see how, we react and push up into highs. And we'll see what happens in the morning. All right. So there's our overall S&P. Let's go into some relative names here, and then I'll wrap us up. All right, QQQ is the tech index or the NASDAQ. You can see here that it was a little bit weaker than SPY. Okay, it pushed a little bit lower here. We can see on we go to today. Okay, the NASDAQ, you can see that it pushed a little bit lower. That was stimulated by big tech. Meta, Microsoft had a massive push down at open. We had Tesla, Apple, Google weak, all the major tech names that have been in all-time highs getting weaker. So that makes sense, right? So we did have QQQ that was down almost 2% on the day and recovered fairly nicely here. So again, the same formation forming here. So I'm going to turn this area, all this area right here, into a resistance zone. Okay. And for those that are new to this, all this means is if I'm trading options, okay, I'm looking to push into this area. Okay. Right. Push into this area. And it may not come all the way back up here. Right. I need to see, but this is the best risk to reward. I want to see it push up into 439 and then see these wicks like this. Okay. These wicks up here. It would look like that to take puts. Okay. To take puts. Okay. However, puts, you want to be mindful in a bull market that puts are running against the overall trend, right? But right now we are short-term bearish. So I want to see it push up into here, watch the reaction. If I see any wicks and it can't get above 440, can't get above 440, then I'm okay potentially looking at the put options to form this head and shoulders on QQQ as tech is continuously weak. All right. So that could be a massive move if we get the right catalyst, meaning the news data supports this movement on the downside, or we just start to form naturally, and the bears start stepping in, the sellers start stepping in at these resistant zones. All right. I do want to be mindful as well that I have two resistant zones. Okay. So if this breaks again, just like SPY, I will turn this green, and now it has reclaimed an area, and it's probably going to push up into this gap fill. And then this is the big risk to reward area right around here. Okay. That 444 gap fill right there, shorting that to come lower. Okay. So I've got two areas I'm watching for potential shorts, but we're in a bull market. I like this one a little bit better just because this is pretty strong of a buy up here. So if we reclaim this area, I want to see how we react and then go long, or for we hold below 440, really 441, then I will go short if we hold below it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my area there to see how we react. Turn this red for now. Okay. Cool. So I'll be watching that area to see how we react around there. Okay. All right, let's jump into IWM. IWM is our small caps, which is the Russell 2000. Okay, IWM held up fairly well today, right? It held up fairly well. Again, going back to here, the Russell 2000 only down less than 1% on the day. Okay, still holding this 2000 level here on the Russell. Okay, so IWM is the ETF, okay, of the Russell. This is what we typically trade. Okay. So I see here that IWM held up my 203 area of demand, okay, or support. Okay, all I'm doing is looking to my left, and you can see that former resistance, right, where it couldn't get back above, kept resisting and resisting this 203, and then it started building above here and building, and now it pushed from 203 to 207. Look what it's doing now, right? Doesn't this look very similar to this move? So I can look at IWM 203 pushing back up into this 206 area potentially for calls. And if we rotate back to the highs and we get strong, I could see IWM breaking this downtrend right here and then pushing back up into these highs, 207. Okay. So my trade plan would look very similar to this. Okay, keep my stop loss below 203, and I would have all profits there, and I would take profits along the way. Okay, I'd take profits at 205 and then leave a runner all the way to these highs. I think that's a great risk to reward based off of how strong the small caps have been. All right, so there's my trade plan for IWM. All right. Let's go into the relative strength names and do a speed round on these. Okay. Now everyone's worried, or not worried, but looking at Tesla and Apple and Google. And then I'll go briefly over the semiconductors, NVIDIA, those companies there. All right. Apple sitting in demand. All right. I've got a couple levels on Apple. I've got this 171 level. Okay. It closed below 171 today. I've got 171 as that pivot point. If it can reclaim 171, then you can go long, fill these gaps, and push back up into these highs, which is still below 180, which is our major psychological level. So still a great buying opportunity for shares right here, but it potentially has further room down if we get a rejection on the overall market, i.e. SPY and QQQ. So I wanted to see how we closed today. We closed below my particular level, which was 171. You can see here that we started rejecting it right there as we pushed up, couldn't get back above 171. And now we have double bottomed here in the short term. Okay, so this now is forming a nice base at this 169, 170. So let's see if it can build some strength above this 171. Okay, and we push past this 171, could be a great call option, right, as we continue to get strong tomorrow and push back up and recover a little bit. Okay, so I do like Apple for calls off this demand area short term. All right, you could do long term if you want, put some time on the contracts. All right, I'll be looking tomorrow, Apple 170 calls or 172.5 calls, doing weeklies, or you can come out 2 days to next week, next week contracts. You can look at in the money 170s, 172.5s, 175s. Apple, I typically like doing in the money because of its average true range, how much it moves in a day. It's ATR. Okay. So if all this seems foreign, let me take a pause. If all this seems foreign, I do want to make a quick plug here that you should join our Discord. Okay, the link's down below. So if you have not joined a community, if you're not in a community, please be mindful that we have one and we have educational resources inside of our university. So here's our trading trainings. I have all these trainings here on how to get started, how to set up your platform, set up your Webull chart, navigate through Robinhood if you like using that, how to trade earnings, when to take profits, understanding change in directions, everything in between, and that is ongoing. All right. We have our trading floor. Our trading floor, we update the financial news for the day. Said swing puts paying, economic calendar, what's going on our calendar for the week, our earnings for the week, what's going on there. And then we have our option signals. Okay. If I'm in something and I think it is a solid play, I will signal it here and give entries, exits, stop losses, very similar to today. Stop loss below 507. We were trying calls off that 507 demand, and then we had a stop loss, so we had a minimal risk. All right. Trade ideas. You can see here where I post all of my ideas for specific stocks. So Tesla bear flag, I was talking about that. All right. It retested this low. Where's Tesla right now? 179, 180. All right. So just want to give some receipts. This played out very nicely. This Disney inverse head and shoulders, you can see there. And Disney retested these highs at 112, 113. All right. So I'm guiding you along the way. We're learning together. We're also making money together. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about in these market analyses, please check down below and you can join there. I believe the chat's like $17 a month. And then if you want live trading where I'm trading with the community each and every day, that is around $97 a month. And if you need incorporated one-on-one attention, you want a couple of consults to get you started, you'll see that VIP down below as well. But yeah, love to have you inside of our trading floor. This is a life, business, and financial community. So I am a life and a business coach, teaching entrepreneurs and thought leaders how to build their life and their business holistically together. But we do have skill sets that we're developing as well. All right. So quick plug there. Check the link down below. Let's jump back into these charts. All right. So Apple, I like that for calls. Amazon has been fairly strong here. I needed to reclaim. I love this here, but I wanted it to hold up 175 for Amazon. Okay, 175 for Amazon there, but still, as a reminder, we're forming these higher lows. All right, so we have still not really broken trend here, but something to take into consideration for Amazon is this rising bull flag wedge. Okay, now again, all this stuff is in our community, so if you're just still confused, follow along with me. As we rise and rise and rise and rise, we start to squeeze into this wedge, which could present an opportunity for Amazon to come lower if we get weak. So short term, Amazon looks great for bullish nature. But do you see this wick right here on this? Okay, so if we push up into here, I could see Amazon maybe getting weak again as the market potentially pulls back. It needs a catalyst. All right. So Amazon is sitting at highs right now from 2021. All right. So Amazon, we really need that 180 break. Okay. For Amazon to continue on the upside. So if it breaks 180, that is the level that Amazon can continue higher. If it stays below 180, you can trade it intraday, trade it, scalp it, whatever you want to do, get in and out of trades. But until then, right, I still think Amazon potentially could, again, form, just like the market, this potential head and shoulders formation here, rejecting that 177, 176 area, and then coming a lot lower. All right, so something to keep on watch there. Apple, we went over that. Let's go over Tesla. Okay, Tesla, again, like you just saw in those trade ideas, I was showing our community why you want to pick up shares. But if you're trading Tesla right now, I know a lot of thought leaders in this space have been looking at the same thing, especially if they're experienced and looking at this. We are not out of the water yet on Tesla, and it proved to be true today. All right. Yesterday, the last couple of days, it proved to be true. So you can see Tesla, right? Everyone was chasing this, going long, buying leaps, everything, which is great, right? You can hold those. You're probably down if you caught Tesla leaps or calls further out up in these 190s or 200s because it was so close to breaking above 205, 206. I told our community, please, it needs to be above 207, really 208. And I need to see a candle closure above this. So a daily candle closure, very similar to this, above this area for me to take it long. Until then, we could be bear flagging into this resistance, this breakdown from their earnings, push back up, break down lower. All right. So I've been watching this for a minute, and Tesla could potentially, here are my levels on Tesla, could potentially come down, push back up into this resistance zone 190. All right. So resistance, great. 190 here. I'm looking at that. And we could reject again. Little gap fill here on Tesla. If we recover, bulls will definitely be stepping in. Buyers definitely stepping in here, right? At this 177, 180 area. And we are potentially going to start flagging here into, right, this 188, 190 area. All right. So I can definitely see that as a nice recovery going into the remainder of the week. We'll see how it plays out. All right. But still not convinced on Tesla just yet for long dated call options. Okay. Let me turn on these extended hours here and see how it's performing after hours. So you see nice nice buying power, excuse me, not buying power, nice buying pressure coming here towards the end of the close. And then we could see this maybe pushing back up into that 188, 187 level. All right. So it's a nice $5 move tomorrow on Tesla. All right. There are my levels on Tesla. Google, same thing. Now, as a reminder, I did pick up some shares at these levels. So as a reminder, pick up shares as you please, right, for your favorite companies on these massive red dip days. All right. So Google 130 was a nice level, a nice psychological level there, 130. It gets pretty interesting down in this area because we have a lot of buyers stepping in at this 130 range here. So if we put that there, there's 129. And if we put our zone there, our little demand zone, it's this whole range. So it gets very interesting here around 130. Okay. So definitely an opportunity to buy, right? I personally think it may have lower, right, into the 120s. That would be great because 116, 117 was great buying opportunities here back in July of last year, still forming these higher lows on a bigger time frame. So I went out to a daily and I still see this nice trend there on Google. All right. So it's coming back into this demand zone. And if we see that could be a 3-touch trend line, really nice bounce around 127. Okay. So it is bouncing a little bit early, but the major bounce that I'd be looking for would be this 127, right at that level there, maybe tick down into 126 and take it long there for long dated call options. Okay. You can get starters here if you'd want. You see all this major room back up in these highs, right? So I do want Google a little bit lower, and you can see the pressure down here at this 126 zone. Okay. A lot of buyers that are big money would be stepping in right around that 126 area. Okay. So I like that a lot personally. All right. If we come down into there, I'm willing to potentially grab some leaps on Google. We'll have to see, right? We'll have to see. But another formation potentially on Google here would be maybe, okay, a nice cup and a handle. Okay. Nice cup and a handle forming here on Google. All right. So keep your eye on that. Up and handle forming on Google. Looks very similar to this, right? Nice cupping formation, nice pullback into a zone there. And many people missed it on SPY. So here's how it would look on SPY, right? Look at this. Does that not look almost identical to Google, right? Nice cupping formation, handle pulling back into a nice demand zone, and then just ripping off of there. So I really want that 126, but definitely a place to add some shares here at that 130 level. But man, if Google can come down just a little bit lower. I've been eyeing this and that looks absolutely amazing. Now, if we do it to the candle closures, this might be the area, to be honest with you. Right. So if I draw my trend line here, I like my trend lines to be blue and dotted. Okay. We do it to the candle closures. Okay. The candle closures being the body of the candle. I do it to the body of that candle. Still wants a little bit lower, but it's in the range. It's in the zone. I mean, it's right there. I mean, it could definitely rip. And this is a great opportunity to buy shares. I mean, look what it did right here at this 130. 130 all the way back up to 150. Right? Dip down here a little bit into the 126s or so. So definitely an opportunity to add into leaps or long dated call options. And the ones I'd be looking at, if I did leaps on Google, if I did June 21st, right? 140 calls or so into June. You can see how much open interest is here on this 160, 170. These are a little bit further out. I'd rather do it closer personally, but I'd probably, if I do that far out, I'd probably go to these January 2025 and look at these maybe 200s, but I'd rather keep it in the money. Send a little bit more money here, 170s, 150s, that round even number. So got my eye on Google for long dated call options right in these zones. All right. Couple of quick semiconductors, and then I will let us go here. Everyone wants to know about NVIDIA and SMCI and AMD. What's going on with the semiconductors? Overall, the semiconductors are still strong comparative to the market, right? The market was coming down today. NVIDIA was still building and going up. Excuse me, AMD was still building and going up. My line in the sand for AMD today was this 205 area. All right. So at the end of the market, it reclaimed it, right? So I turned that green there. Now it's now a support, broke past my resistance zone, and it's going to retest these highs. Okay. So 205 is now my new support area. I'd love for a nice bounce tomorrow to take it higher and maybe take it to that 215, 220 area, especially if it breaks this 211. All right. NVIDIA got another price upgrade. Okay. Crazy. Another price upgrade, but not crazy. All right. I personally, it sounds wild as far as trading it. Okay. The market can be very irrational. Okay. But I personally am looking to short NVIDIA. Okay. I'm looking to short it. Now, if you are experienced and you're like, you're crazy, you're crazy. Okay. Hear me out here. Shorting means puts for everybody. We can make money on the way down. I like this wick up here on a daily. Okay. Followed by a hammer candle. That's the only thing. So today is followed by a hammer candle, which is just the craziness of NVIDIA. All right. But look at this RSI, right? RSI meaning relative strength index on a daily. Okay. It is sitting at roughly almost 80. So the RSI, last time we were in this range, we pulled from 736 all the way back down to 766, a 100-point move on the downside. And it was just healthy, right? Just healthy. Doesn't mean we're, bearish or anything. It's just a healthy pullback, right? So I want to look at this potential short pushing up into these highs as high as it can go, right? And getting a position maybe on the 800 puts. Okay. The 800 puts. That would give me a nice move. It would look very similar to this. Push up into these highs. I really want to short it at 900 or so. People think NVIDIA is going to 1,000. It may, right? But in the short term, could push up in those highs. And I'd like to see it reject off of there a little bit more, right? I'd like to see a wick up in this area again and then push down, maybe a catalyst with the news and push down like that. Okay. And then take a bounce off of there to take it up to 1,000. Okay. Just a trade idea, just a trade idea. So this is what my plan is on NVIDIA, looking for it for potentially shorting it and we'll see how that goes. I do not gamble. I'm not guessing. I'm reacting. Okay, so a couple of things I'm building. Look at these lower highs here off NVIDIA. So it keeps rejecting, even if it forms a nice double top and rejects off of these highs again. I will look anywhere in this area to potentially short. All right, so that's my game plan on NVIDIA. You can already see here these wicks starting to happen. There's a wick. So there's definitely sellers up here, right? Wicks forming lower highs. And then we'll see how it forms out. Okay. So there's my game plan on NVIDIA. SMCI, absolutely crazy as well. Okay. Gotten comfortable trading this. I traded a little bit today, right? Very clean levels, right? And you do have to trade out of the money or, have a significant amount of money to trade this or know what you're doing. Okay. So we did make some money today on SMCI, but again, broke out of this bull flag. Okay. As expected. Okay. Broke out of that nice bull flag there. There's a demand support area on SMCI right around this 1,000. So 995 to 1,000. 995 to 1,000, right in that buying zone. For those that are new, okay, support, former resistance becomes support. Okay, it's building a home, as I always say. Couldn't get above this 1,000, broke above 1,000, has to retest it. So we have to build the second level and then make sure it's sturdy. Okay, we break above, build up some strength, break above, and then now that becomes support. Okay. So that's where I took the bounce this morning and I signaled it to the community. And if they took it, we all made money today. All right. So there's a nice move. And when we have a bull flag there, it typically like to retest the high. All right. So just a nice bull flag, retest these highs here. And now we need to break above these highs for continuation. All right. We buy high, buy low, sell high. Okay. Or trim. So here's my game plan on SMCI. And to be honest with you, same game plan as NVIDIA, right? I'm okay looking at shorting this thing, but strategically, right? It's so strong that everyone is buying and buying and buying and buying, but it is significantly overextended and it's irrational, right? So you have to understand that sometimes the market is not rational, but you are assessing risk to reward. Risk to reward means I know that I have all this opportunity on the downside, right? As we push higher. And I know exactly where my risk is. So if I enter up here a put, then I know that I would stop out of that put if it gets above these highs. Okay. If I see a wick like this, cool. I'm okay taking puts. So if I break above, I stop out. Right. But then there's all this reward down here. What a lot of people do is they chase this move. And that's where most of us are taking our profits, right? Because we got in down here. Right. So SMCI, NVIDIA, potentially shorting. All right. Wrapping up here with crypto. Bitcoin hit all-time highs at 69,000. We signal it in the community, told everyone where the levels were. Where's crypto? Bitcoin, right? Here it is, holding above 65. This was yesterday. Next level, 67, then 69, and then we're sitting at this distribution or resistance level. Okay, so it worked out to perfection. Here hit 60, went above 65. All right, this previous close here was about 61 on a monthly. Okay, on a weekly, our previous high candle closure was 64.6. Okay, so we broke above there at 65 and it pressed into these highs at 69. Okay, and then selling came in. Okay, selling came in, or taking profits, I should say, and it went from 69 all the way back down to 60. So roughly a $10,000 move, and we may have some continuation, right? Because guess what? People are bought these highs. So now they're, the retail people that were late to the party are now like, dang, I'm losing money. But the savvy investors are like, I'm still in profit. I'm just going to take my profit, hold on to a couple. And then if it continues down further, I'll buy up again, right? The next buy up, in my opinion, would be back at this, below 50. Okay. If we get back there. Okay. Public participation phase, accumulation phase is something we talked about in our community. All right. Cool. Coinbase and the mining companies we'll talk about in a different video. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you as always for taking the time out. I try to make these as efficient as possible, but as thorough as possible. So if this made sense to you, if you're inside of our community, I do understand that this can be very overwhelming. So please make sure that you check the links down below. I'm very adamant about education and you learning this skill set, which lasts for a lifetime, and you're able to make the money here that you see inside of our community. And there's also other communities that you may be a part of. So we'd love to have you. I want to provide these videos for educational purposes, and I want to show some wins here that we have had. Right today, there's Michelle taking a nice win on the SPY put. Myself today had about a $300 or $400 day roughly. Okay, there's my SMCI there, and then another SMCI took it again, and then there's my SPX short, which actually went much further than this. So I just took my profits at 50%. But yeah, roughly a $300 to $500 day, good to go. And yeah, had a big day yesterday for our community members, which you saw. So thank you all so much. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Until next time, talk to you soon.